Alright, let's show you some more if you want to see it. I got it back in the house. I'm redoing the wiring harness to be permanent. It worked as it is, and now I just figure I might as well get around to making the wiring a little more sturdy and permanent, less floppy. And then I've been thinking while I had the part, I'm gonna redo the seat and stuff too. But here's one of the big wheels that's gonna go on it. Right now it's sitting on the fender because there's no suspension. I took out that little tire. Believe it or not, the dirt bike tire was enough to keep this off of the thing. So whenever I buy the suspension and make sure there's adequate bump stops, that's in a good spot. That's as big a tire as I can fit on it though, and once I do the suspension. I think they're 18s. Can't remember. Well, I don't have the other one yet. I'm still gonna get it next month. And then I gotta cut these up still, modify the sidewalls and still shape them. And I might not even go with these ones. I have some wider and bigger diameter ones I might still wind up cutting in half and making the fenders out of. Now that I got this here and I can see how wide it is compared to that, I might wind up making it out of a different one. We'll see. But I've got the frame all apart, and I figured, since I never showed how the swing arm's attached, it's all welded up and it's just bolted on right where it would have bolted on. Like, this was supposed to bolt on anyways right here, and it had adjustment. You could slide it up further, and then I welded it on. Well, I took the original bolts off, and then I had these, and I welded their nuts onto the plate on the inside, and then, you know, just bolted it on good and sturdy. And the pivot points down there with bearings in it and everything. I still haven't cut this threaded rod down. It's even on both sides. It sticks out a little bit because I'm not sure. I might not keep that pivot point design. I might wind up, the more I modify this thing, having it out here further where I'd rather it be. This was just the easiest way to get the swing arm attached and whatnot, was to cut it down and do that. It's on there pretty damn sturdy. That part in the middle is a thick-walled piece of pipe that's welded to and braced up with gusseting and whatnot, but it's welded to, like, I want to say the corner, basically. Well, the top / corner of this piece of square tubing, so it's kind of pushed back a little bit. And then there's other bits of metal that, because it's round going on square, so I had to bridge the gaps and stuff. So that's that. And as you can see under here, this is took the floor off and whatnot because I'm making it a little comfier. It worked fine. I'm just making it comfier. So that's the frame braces there for all of this. And good thing I was taking it apart. I realized it was holding water here. It was just coming down and just sitting there and just like a balloon inflating. That's not good. So I'm gonna clean that up, see if I need to go back over it, and need to touch this thing up with paint pretty much everywhere. I'm gonna get the go over rust kind of paint to save me some effort. I'm too ornery to do it the right way. But yeah, I'm gonna be making the dash out of metal instead of the cardboard and plastic it was, that was wrapped in duct tape. And I'm modifying how my throttle works, not the steering, the throttle. So I've got to take the steering wheel off tomorrow, and I'm gonna weld a little adapter on it that allows me to put the throttle in a better location. Let's see. Oh yeah, the ratchet strap is just because it was easier to get it in the door if I locked the steering. So it goes around and it's just holding the steering so it can't move. Oh yeah, I took the dirt bike tire off of it because it's not running on that front wheel anymore. I'm thinking I might make it 4 wheels and use the free spinning wheels that were on the back on the front. It'd mean I have to extend out and make sure I make sturdy frame to support that, but we'll see if I ever do that. I don't know yet. It's an idea I'm toying with. But yeah, let's see. Let's stand up. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Yeah, that's what it's going to look like. The battery's probably going to go here underneath the seat for the summer at least. I should try and make it to where I can just slot it in so that anything in the winter it can go there, and I'm going to make my own seat probably for it out of thick wood and stuff and upholstery foam. Happen to already have a shit ton of that upholstery foam and thick, it's like 6 inches thick, the stuff I got. So I got enough stuff to make a seat from scratch that's better suited for this. And the 12 volt battery, that one goes there. I don't have a bracket for it, but it fits there good. And I believe, I haven't tested it yet, but I believe, and I still got to cut up the sides of this and whatnot, and the fenders are going to get attached and whatnot with that. I believe the battery will fit in behind this, in between this and the frame, if I can get that in there. Take the flagpole off, which just has that old unicorn costume for my pet, my kitty cat. She don't wear it no more. She used to wear it in the cold. She used to like it, but I don't know. She don't like it anymore. But yeah, so the battery I believe will fit in there because there's it goes all the way back to here. So from there to there, that battery is only that big. So yeah, and this will be raised up a little higher than this. But yeah, it goes with the bumper I made quite well. And the suspension will help, and then the car tire bits there. So it's not going to be too terrible. And eventually I'll take and make an actual sturdy, this is good for the winter, good for now. It's just lasting me good enough. But I'll make a rigid version of this and probably still incorporate this little thing for a window, maybe clean it up a bit. That's the sticker that was on it from the little used place that I bought it from. But yeah, I don't know. It's coming along as far as my ideas go. I'm changing where the controller goes. It was right here hanging down. I'm going to put it under the seat as well. And the seat's not going to be as wide as it was. It's going to be about 11 inches or so, which is about from here, the start of this bend to the start of that bend. And it's going to come up. And I don't know when, probably next month when I get more grinding discs. I'm going to be cutting this, welding a piece here, getting rid of all this, cutting that. Heat these up, bend them down flush, weld them right on top of the other ones here, and then make a gusset that goes from, just a shorter gusset, a small beefy thing. And then I'll be able to get in and out of it easier, so this will be gotten rid of and all that, and might even modify this bit, because that seat, that seat might go back on it in the meantime. But eventually, like I said, I'm going to make my own here soon enough out of wood. One that'll rot away eventually, basically. And, yeah, so that'll give me more leg room to get in and out of it a little easier. Just, and that's underneath where the dash was. I'm going to make the dash out of an old cooking pan. I went and flattened it some, but my neighbor sleeps. I had to go over by a tree away from my house and do just that much. I couldn't carry the anvil that my neighbor said I could borrow anytime with me, so soon enough, when I can make noise without making anyone upset, I'll get and borrow the anvil again and do a better job at that. And then that's pretty much, I just got to cut the corners. That's the perfect size to the original dash. And it gets folded and whatnot, and then once I fold it in both sides to have the overlap and stuff, then I can figure out the corners, the edges, because it's it's tapered. I can figure that bit out and cut it tapered as I need and stuff, and that'll be a more metalish dash. I might still put some sort of foam or something to keep it from rattling too bad or getting too hot on top of it or under it or something. But yeah, don't mind the mess. I gotta take the garbage out. I use a tote instead of a can. But the dumpster's just right there, so I'm gonna do that today, soon. Anyways, so yeah, the only wiring left that's still here is the ignition, which I might move to the dash once I get the dash made. And then this is the antenna for the radio, and then power, accessory power stuff, along with, because for some reason that thing doesn't run on 12 volts. It came with its own little 12 volt converter that plugs into a 12 volt port on a car. So I had to do this for now until I can buy a dedicated cord for it, or I don't know if I still have its original 12 volt converter. I might modify its 12 volt converter to just be an inline in a cable, and then have that still go into the 12 volt power setup instead of running off of the USB port that's on that little radio, because that doesn't put out a lot of power, and yeah, it's not great. It puts out enough power to run it, but it's not great. And I'm gonna, since I'm planning, summer's gonna come here, and I'm planning on running some more accessories, my color changing lights and things. So I might beef up my 12 volt wires. Right now, this one is just going to, let's see, I cut the one that goes to the tail lights for now. It's the one hanging there. So that one's fine. But as far as, yeah, this is 12 volt power supply for accessories, comes out of the radio. So I might only have that go and power the dash radio, and not the lights anymore. Well, I don't know, unless I want to get a relay, because the headlight is kind of too much for that little radio. It's 12 volt output. The headlight's an actual vehicle, good 12 volt headlight. The tail lights are fine. It can power those just fine. Either way, maybe if I get a relay that can, this 12 volt power supply, because that way I can use the same, it's got buttons built in for activating the headlights, and I like that, even though it's made for children. But actually, I have the stuff to do that. Electromagnetic relay, though, would be kind of annoying, because that uses a good bit of power too. I don't know. I'll think of a solution eventually. But yeah, I don't know. It works. I'm gonna end up having the one throttle I had, the suicide throttle, that was no spring, and it just like a boat stays wherever you leave it. That's gonna go in the corner here, built into the dash. So it's like mounting bracket will be under, but that little lever will be in a slot through the dash, so that it'll be up against this where it's hard for me to accidentally hit it. So that'll be like my governor, and it'll be wired in series with the other throttle I have, which is gonna get attached here, because I figured out where I can mount it and would be a comfy spot to be able to grip the steering wheel and not hurt my wrist or fingers or anything, I think. We'll see. I don't know yet where on the back of the steering wheel it's the bracket for it's going to be, until I get a seat back in it or get the new seat back in it, and then I can figure out where I'm sitting, because the steering's not adjustable like it should be. So I'll try and make the seat a little adjustable this time, but we'll see what I can do. But yeah, it's my turd wrapped in duct tape. Always working on it, trying to make it better. I don't know. So it's got the torque now. That's makes me happy. And before I undid the wiring, because I've got a lot of parts here, and I haven't made a video on the mini lathe because I kind of gave up. It works, but not efficiently the way I put it together. So I did convert it over to gears successfully, sort of. The motor that I use sticks out very far. But I got it working and stuff. I don't have a good enough power supply. I could just straight up hook it to that battery, but I think last time I did that, this thing got hot as fuck quickly. So it needs a regulated power supply. I just don't have a fancy one that's good enough for this. Like a 12 volt one that's puts out enough amps for this setup. Because this still, the way this is, it's not efficient. I don't have the tension and everything right. Plus one of these gears, I got the hole off center a little bit, so there's a tight spot, essentially. So, which it would wear itself in if I could had a power supply that wouldn't burn the motor up and would keep it spinning long enough. It would get hot and just wear itself in, but I don't have the right stuff, so I kind of gave up on it. I'm gonna get a better lathe eventually. It was a fun project. It taught me a bunch of stuff, and yeah, I liked playing with it, but yeah, it was just too finicky. Too much work to do to make it do better work than right out of the box. So, yeah, I'll get one that's decent enough right out of the box. I don't have to fool with it. And I already know enough of, making sure things are playing with this when I know enough about operating the lathe and tolerances and squaring it up and all that stuff. I just need to get another one, a good one, not one of these, and that should be alright right out of the box after I get it set up. And yeah, I'll probably just slowly use parts off of this one for other projects and shit. I don't know. I already robbed some screws out of it today for this. I'm replacing this little bus bar that I got online. That ain't rated at much power, but it looks just like that one, right? Except for that happened. I mean, it still had continuity, but it was a turning. It was a turning. So this one I got from the local hardware store, and it's rated at, wait, it doesn't say it anymore. Well, I guess it was just on the packaging. But this thing's rated at like 30 or 40 amps, which is about what I need. Don't remember what this is rated at, but clearly not enough. That's where the positive wire was for the battery that connects to the controller. So either way, this one should do. I had this one on the mower, and the mower, because of being a belt drive and all that other bullshit, whenever I was testing it and playing with it, it was rolling a shit ton of amps. So this was fine, never got too hot or nothing. So this one will be a lot better. It's got thicker bars that are sunk down in there, and just wider gap here, and easier to fool with anyways. This one, it's the kind that has the little plates that come up with the screw and all that. I don't know. I might take it apart and make my own versions. A single plate that comes across out of copper or aluminum or something. We'll see. But because the plastic seems to be the same exact plastic, so if this one's rated for the amps, the difference is the metal bits that's inserted into the plastic. So I don't know that for a fact, but it seems to be the same plastic. It's like a rigid, hard-ass plastic. Very rigid. But, yeah. That's the radio and the dash still upside down. And once I smooth all that out and get that shaped right, these two things will be in the same spot. And then I might configure the ignition in over here somewhere. And then over in this corner is where that boat style throttle thing will be. I say boat style because I made it that way. Where is it? Here it is. So this will get mounted underneath, and I might even just take this bit off, because I can just get away with mounting it with those 3 screws, because nothing sticks out past this line that it needs. This whole side of the bracket, the piece of plastic, is just for this handlebar mount loop. So I can mount it against a piece of flat bit. So we'll see how I do that. And yeah, there'll be a slot in there, and this will be wired in series with the other throttle, which I've decided I'm going to go back to my original throttle, not this one, just because I don't want to. I always planned on redoing the lever on this, but I really don't want to fool with it. It's aluminum, and I'm lazy. So I'm going to go back to this throttle, which is going to get mounted with its the way it's supposed to. I just got to weld on some adapter bits on the back of the steering wheel and get it located wherever abouts I want it. I might even make it adjustable. So like a flat plate that sticks out on the back of the steering wheel and kind of tees left and right, and then has the bit of pipe welded to that. And then you just tighten and loosen a screw, and you can slide it further away from your fingers, closer to your fingers, and then your fingers do that. So it'd be smaller, simpler. I don't know, I think I'm gonna like this more, because this has less throw to get to the full where you want it, I think. And I don't know if it does or doesn't, but for the way I'm going to be using it, it feels like it does. Also, the lever's shorter, so that means it's not traveling as far. Where's the other one? And this one, the lever is longer, plus it's bent in the wrong way that I need it to be. No, it travels about the same. It's just the longer lever. I don't like it. And I don't want to cut it down, and it's very big and bulky for a throttle. I mean, they can be a lot smaller. I mean, hell, it can just be a little radio dial. They can build them tiny and still be spring-loaded. So, because these are just for signal. These aren't handling too much current. So I could literally just put a spring or a rubber band or something on a fucking radio dial and use that. I think I did use a dial like that on the lawnmower. I might cut that off and see if I can't make do with that for something. I don't know. But I'm always tinkering. And then along with that, on the new dash, there might be a spot somewhere to finally mount the phone. I don't know. There's got to be a big... Once I make the part that bends down for all of this, there's got to be a big bit cut out of it for the steering and for the brake lever to still be able to move. So there might not be any room for this if I want to put the key there and then the governor throttle there. It might fit there, maybe. And then that'd be hanging down too far, though. My knees would always catch it. That'd be annoying. But yeah. And one of these days, I'll actually build something with a cup holder. Every single project I build, except for one that already came with a cup holder, which was the motorized bicycle, the beach cruiser pink bike I made, or I turned into like a dirt bike kind of thing, very torquey, and then eventually I swapped out the sprocket and made it fast and hardly any torque, and then somebody stole my torquey sprocket, and yeah, eventually I ripped the pull starter out of it, and then I traded that thing off and got rid of it, and switched to electric and never looked back. But, yeah, so, yeah, we'll see what I do. I don't know. But, that's that. Yep. Don't expect too much editing from these videos. I'm just a poor person, just doing what I can. I just make do and try to make myself comfy as best I can. I get sore all the time and tired and all that, so I just trying to show people, and I figure since I get inspired by even people doing stuff the wrong way, if that makes you think, well, I can do it better, well then, that's great. If you're aware that it can be done better, then do better. So it doesn't matter. You need to see both ends of the spectrum as far as the media you're taking in as far as learning how to do something, or just what your hobby is or your interest. You should see how it's done professionally on a high grade, and then how it's done at your level, what's accessible for you, or how it's done even lesser, something that's definitely accessible for you to be able to do. So this is low level, obviously, extremely low. Not quite the lowest, though. I've seen worse. But this is terrible. But it'll do. That's the thing. It'll do. And I'm probably going to leave these knobbies on it for the summer, too. Once I get the suspension, it should ride fine. I need to add some... That's another reason I'm going to add the battery to the back there. This thing's got a lot of unsprung weight. A lot of that swing arm and those tires is going to be a lot of weight unsprung. So put that battery there, plus my weight, plus shifting the other battery back here. Yeah, that'll help with actually being able to have usable suspension. So, alright, that's about it.